Hey, hello.
Hi, how are
Hi.
you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing this lovely morning?
Oh, well, we just worked through some tech issues, but we're all good
All
now.
good in the hood.
All
Thank
good
you,
in the hood.
Anne from Riverside.
And from Riverside, it was quick and easy.
Quick and easy,
Little problem.
just a little
Okay,
switch.
so today we're here to talk about YouTube Kids, which is a fun one. But I want to tell you a quick story
Yeah. Love a
of
quick
something
story
funny
from
that
you.
happened.
You have the best little quick stories.
Okay, good. Okay, so we're in the car yesterday, and Alec is singing the song, and he's got hand gestures going,
Come
and he
on,
has
Alex.
his phone in his hand, right?
Yeah.
And he's moving his hands, and then he chucks it on accident over to me. I'm driving, and it hits me in the eye socket.
No way.
I was like, "Why is your phone in your hand?" Put your fucking phone down. I was just like, immediately I was like, okay, we're working on some stuff like a family media plan. And I want to suggest some areas where maybe you don't need to have your phone out. And I was like, in the car, like put your phone down when you're in the car. Cause when you're driving and the person next to you is like on social media or whatever,
Yeah.
and you're like, hello, like,
What do you,
can you talk to
yeah,
me?
and what are you looking at? Like, what am I not entertaining enough?
Yeah.
Right?
And then to go as far as to be dancing with his phone in his hand, throw it at me on accident. I was just like, we were laughing so hard, but I
Did you
was
get a
like, oh my
bruise?
God.
Because, like, hey, a phone coming at your face could be pretty painful.
No, I mean, I just went silent. I was like, oh my
My
God.
eye would have been watering. I would have, like, I bruise
uh,
easily, so I would have, like, gotten, like, such a big bruise from
it was funny slash not funny, but
that. Funny, not funny.
funny, not funny. Okay. So anyway, let's move on to talk about YouTube Kids.
YouTube
So
Kids. Let's do it.
yeah. So do your kids watch YouTube Kids, Ash?
So no, they do not. I do. They have actually been watching a couple YouTube shows at times, but I don't like it. I don't like
Mm-hmm.
the advertisements that are on it. Actually, I don't think the
Mm-hmm.
advertisements are appropriate at all. And then if they do really want to watch a YouTube show, because of school, by the way, school will do YouTube
Watching
shows.
YouTube.
Yeah, and they
Oh,
know
okay.
YouTube from school.
Mm-hmm.
They really want to watch it. I will sit there and watch it with them because I want to know what it is.
Yeah.
My son actually wanted to, my 4-year-old really wanted to watch a show on YouTube that he
Mm-hmm.
learned from preschool. And I was watching and I'm like, I'm not a fan of this one. I don't like it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's our experience with YouTube right now. They're just kind of dipping their toes in it. And I'm not a huge fan of YouTube,
Yeah.
actually.
And I'm not either. We don't watch any YouTube Kids with the kids or without the kids. We don't let them watch it. I know a lot of families that use it. I think families see it as like the safe option. Like it's not social media, it's
Mm,
educational, and they let their kids watch it. I mean, it's called YouTube Kids. It's got kids in the title. It should be
right.
appropriate for kids, right?
Yeah.
Um, But I think in my experience, I've seen a few family members' kids or friends' kids watching it. And I feel like when I glance, they're watching like other kids playing with toys.
Hmm.
And I just think to myself, why don't you just play with toys?
Yeah.
Like, what is that?
Yeah. No, we've actually watched a show. I didn't understand what the kid was saying. I don't know if it was another language or the kid was just kind of mumbling, but they were
Mm-hmm.
playing with tractors and mud and dinosaurs in mud. So it would, it would be something they were playing in the mud. And then,
Mm-hmm.
one of the toys got really muddy and they didn't know what it was. And then they washed it off and were like, whoa. And so my kids were watching that and I was like, what is this? I don't understand what's so fascinating about it, but
I yeah, but there's a lot of kids watching it. So let me
yeah.
kind of back up and talk about like what is YouTube Kids and some stats around it. So YouTube Kids is an app specifically designed for kids. It makes it easier for kids to find content that they're interested in. So it's a child-friendly video sharing app. It's free to download. It's basically a colorful, like stripped down version of YouTube. And technically, it's a portal to the main YouTube service, but the main YouTube uses an algorithm to filter out the grown-up stuff and funnel down the kids stuff
Hmm.
to YouTube Kids. And on the App Store, it says YouTube Kids is for kids 4 and older. But I've done a lot of research over the past week on it, and several organizations who've done reviews on the platform are actually recommending that it is for kids 7 and older.
Mhm.
So, just throwing that out there. YouTube Kids has 35 million users weekly around the world. The most popular channels as of this month, number 1 is Choo Choo TV Nursery Rhymes and Kids Songs, which is the most subscribed kids channel with approximately 67.3 million subscribers. The second most popular channel for kids is a Spanish language channel called El Reino Infantil, ranked second with approximately 60 million subscribers.
Wow.
And third is Masha and the Bear. Have you seen Masha and the Bear?
Yeah, it's on Netflix. Masha.
It drives me crazy. What are they doing? Like, what's happening?
One of my kids actually loves Masha and the Bears.
Yeah, but do they talk or it's not talking? Like,
Oh, it's talking. There's talking.
Oh, there's talking.
Yeah.
Oh, I just feel like that's
Some
like,
of these new shows are very similar to. Do you remember the Roadrunner?
yeah,
one?
like Tom and Jerry. What? Yeah,
Kinda-
where they're just chasing each other.
Yeah.
Like trying to. What's the word I'm looking
The
for?
Roadrunner and the Coyote, I think it was
Yeah.
that one show, that
Yeah.
one cartoon. Bugs Bunny, Tom and Jerry. They're
Yeah.
they kind of have like a similar feel to it.
Okay, I like the nostalgic vibes. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so a couple
That
stats.
one, Masha and the Bear, and then there's another one that's very similar to. Gosh, I'm forgetting it. Grizzlies, I think it's called like Grizzlies.
Oh
on
yes,
Netflix.
yes. Oh my God. Whew. Okay, so a couple stats. 80% of U.S. parents of children 11 and under say their kids watch YouTube, and 53% of those parents say their child watches videos on YouTube at least once a day. So more than half of the parents who let their kids watch YouTube, which is 80% of all of them, let their kids watch it every day. And so let's talk about, is YouTube Kids really safe for kids? It's called YouTube Kids, right? It's in the name. So it must be safe, right? No. Okay. Nothing online is completely safe. And we're going to just tell you a little bit more about the platform that you're putting your kids on every day. So there is a chance that kids can see things that they shouldn't on YouTube Kids. I went and downloaded the app from the App Store for the first time. And the second paragraph in the main description, I want to read this, okay? So it says, we work hard to keep the videos on YouTube Kids family friendly and use a mix of automated filters built by our engineering teams, human review, and feedback from parents to protect our youngest users online. But no system is perfect, and inappropriate videos can slip through. So we're constantly working to improve our safeguards and offer more features to help parents create the right experience for their families. So right off the bat, they're admitting that there is inappropriate content on their platform.
Or there's chance for, there's chance for it to slip through. I like how they use that. Chance to slip through. Okay.
Yes. And so one study found that 27% of videos watched by kids 8 and under on YouTube Kids are actually intended for older audiences, with violence being the most likely negative content type. So remember that made for kids videos on YouTube Kids are self-flagged. So I set up a YouTube channel for this podcast, and when I upload a video, there's a question: is this video made for kids? And there's a little question mark, and you can find out what they mean by that. So is this video intended for kids to watch? Yeah. And I said, no, our videos are for parents. But it's self-flagged, right? So I could have clicked yes, and then that video would have gone through and the algorithm, not by a human, right? It would have just gone through their software. And then if the software deemed it appropriate for kids, that it would go through to YouTube Kids. So we're relying on people to self-flag the videos and then it to go through a computer system before it hits YouTube Kids.
Right. So we're relying on others to make the call, right? To make the call to, we're relying on others to discriminate between, is this kid friendly or not? So we're really putting trust in other people to check off that box if their videos are kid friendly, if a 4-year-old could watch it.
Yeah. your intention with letting your kids watch YouTube Kids may be to have them watch educational videos, right?
Hmm. Correct.
But let me share something with you. Only about 4% of videos on YouTube Kids have high educational value. So that means 96% of the videos are what they consider low quality media. Low quality media are things like videos of other kids playing with toys or unwrapping things that don't have educational value. And this study also found that the longer kids watch low quality media, the higher the rate of poor impulse control and self-regulation, plus poorer language development.
Hmm. Yeah.
So don't think that your kids are getting educational content when you put them on YouTube Kids.
I think that's probably the mindset that most parents probably have is, YouTube is different than social media, like what you discussed.
Mm-hmm.
YouTube isn't TikTok, it isn't Instagram, it isn't Facebook. There probably has this sense of like, oh, it must be better. And again, it must be educational. I think too is like, we're setting up a little bit of a precedence where parents are just saying, oh, it's YouTube Kids, therefore it must be okay. Maybe I don't need to look over those videos. Maybe I don't
Mm-hmm.
need to, I'll just let them be on YouTube Kids, and it must be friendly enough. It must be appropriate enough. I think we're putting a lot of trust into YouTube Kids to discern whether or not and make the judgment whether or not it's appropriate for our kids.
Yeah, and our kids are so susceptible to these inappropriate things. And are we okay letting them watch something that we have no idea what's on there? Like, we're using it. Let me get into the inappropriate content part, okay?
Yeah.
So, inappropriate content, it should be moderated and not visible on YouTube Kids, but there are problems. YouTube Kids admits in their own privacy policy that inappropriate content does get through. So kids are seeing actually a lot of inappropriate content on YouTube Kids. And a recent study found that 27% of videos that kids watch on YouTube Kids are not age appropriate. And 6% of videos include mild or moderate sexual content. It's everyday people that are labeling these videos as for kids, and then we rely on the computer algorithms to confirm this.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, what I've learned through our research in these episodes is that there are bad people out there that are trying to take advantage of children.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just don't trust these people to be self-labeling if their videos are for kids. And I think one big takeaway that is going to be for me with this episode is you can't use YouTube Kids as a babysitter. If you're not willing to monitor and watch with them, then don't put them on it. Let them watch Netflix, the kids area of Netflix. Put on a movie that you've seen before and you know is appropriate. But these YouTube Kids channels where they can get served anything that you have not, they can get served things that you have not reviewed and that have inappropriate ads on them, which we'll talk about ads in a minute. Like, if you're not willing to watch it and flag things and report things, then I say you shouldn't be letting your kids use it.
Absolutely. I mean, at least with Netflix, one, they don't have any ads, right? And then two is you can definitely watch it first
Mm-hmm.
and see if it's appropriate enough and see if it matches with your family and what fits for your family and the values of your family first. And
Yeah.
then two is it could kind of, you don't have to, they could watch an episode and it goes,
And
straight
it's
into the
done.
next episode. Right. It's done. And then it goes into the next episode
Right.
where in YouTube Kids, exactly. We're really, really trusting others to making sure they're flagging their videos as kid friendly, appropriate. Right. And then we're really
Yeah.
trusting the algorithm on and the software to make sure that those videos are appropriate instead of
Mm-hmm.
going on Netflix with the kid friendly movies and TV shows and really check them out
Mm-hmm.
yourself.
Yeah.
without
As on
that.
YouTube Kids, they can be watching something harmless 1 second, and then the next second, it could be something completely inappropriate. So let me give you some examples of inappropriate things that kids and adults have seen and found on YouTube Kids. So there's this thing, I don't know if you've heard of it. So you can find videos on YouTube Kids where it shows popular characters, but with sort of bad animation, like recreated. And its intention is to hook the kid in with a character that they recognize. But then it quickly gets inappropriate or disturbing. Like these videos look like they're for kids, but they're clearly not. And
Mm.
whoever creates these types of videos have figured out how to use tags to fool the YouTube algorithm and slide past the filters. So here are some examples. So one kid saw a claymation Spider-Man urinating on Elsa on YouTube Kids.
Wow.
Some kids found Nick Jr. characters in a strip club.
Oh, that's new.
Some kid found Disney Junior characters who turned into monsters and tried to feed each other to alligators. Like, and that may be funny for some older kids, but I don't want my 2-year-old or 4-year-old seeing that, right?
Well, and let's just throw this out there. What's the purpose of people making that stuff? The purpose of making that stuff and throwing it in there is, what they want to traumatize kids, or they think it's funny, or they what
I can't
to
begin to
scare kids?
understand. Yeah, I think it's hard to begin to understand like what bad people, like the reasons why bad people are doing these
Hmm.
things, but it just is happening. Like bad people are creating videos that are sucking kids in and then showing them something disturbing. This is on
Sure.
purpose. They're doing this on purpose.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
know. I can't fathom why someone would do that, but it is happening. Um,
I think that's
so
the takeaway of what you're also saying too, is like it is happening. I think that's what you're
yeah,
trying to say as well, is like it is happening. People will just slip videos in there um
right.
to scare
And so
kids
there's
or
yeah. So one video that a woman in Utah found, her 4-year-old son was watching a video of a family playing, not animated, a real family playing roughly with a young girl. And this included a scene where her forehead was shaved and she cries and starts to bleed. This is on YouTube Kids. Another woman,
what?
Stacey Burns, Stacey Burns in Indiana, was cooking dinner while her 3-year-old son was watching videos on YouTube Kids. Her son yelled out, "Mommy, the monsters scare me." And Stacey walked over and saw a video featuring crude renderings of characters from Paw Patrol. They were screaming in a car, and then the car drove directly into a light pole and burst into flames. And this 10-minute clip was titled, "Paw Patrol Babies Pretend to Die Suicide."
Wow. Okay.
There are videos
That
simulating a
sounds
school
disturbing
shooting.
just for me to
I,
watch.
I know. It's like there are videos simulating a school shooting. There are videos where characters lose weight by drinking a certain potion. You know, there's a cartoon video showing human trafficking. So in this video, an injured and abused female character disguised as a pet wolf is bought for $400 from a masked man with a simple phone call. Like, okay, and let me see what this one is. This is probably the worst one that I found. A boy in Florida was watching YouTube Kids, and spliced in between one of the videos was footage of a man in sunglasses telling children how to slit their wrists.
Oh, that is so awful.
The mother reported it. It took YouTube Kids a whole week to pull the video down. This video popped back up on regular YouTube later on, and again, it took YouTube several days to remove it. And these
Okay,
videos have
first off,
millions of views
why is it taking 1 week? And how
because it's
did
a
that get in
computer
there?
algorithm. Yeah, they say
Right.
YouTube Kids says that if you report it, that it has human review. So that human reviewing it somewhere, that should have taken it down forever. That person should not be able to upload any more videos, yet they are. And these videos that I mentioned have millions of views and are shown with ads, which means that they've had so many views that YouTube is then making money off of them, and they've been seen by millions of children and not been taken down. Some of these are still up.
It baffles me. It absolutely baffles me. The ads are those are ones that get me. Even when my kids have seen a little bit of a YouTube show, all of a sudden the
Mm-hmm.
ad pops up of a video game and a dragon. It is just of a dragon, and it's for an adult video game. And I'm like,
Yeah.
how is
Right.
this ad for this? And then
Yeah.
they're like, what is that? And I'm like, not for you. It's not for
Right. I
you. This
know.
ad is for an adult, and it's for a video game. Why is it being
Yeah.
played on YouTube kids?
And let's talk about ads in a sec. I have a whole bunch of stuff about ads, but I want to ask you first, like when a kid sees inappropriate content, like how does that make the child feel? Like what happens in their little brains?
Well, absolutely. It elicits feelings of feeling scared, feeling probably confused, like, well, what is happening there? Especially for someone who's, especially for a kid that's a little bit more younger, like 4, 5, 6. I've had even my
Mm-hmm.
kids come up to me and say, like, hey, this is a scary part. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so I think too is, yes, these images, these video clips that are aggressive or violent, or they do its job by eliciting feelings of scaredness. And so the kids really feel it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and even like think of adults when we're watching shows that are either violent or suspenseful, like we can feel our heart rate moving up. We can feel that, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next?
Mm-hmm.
Or even feel that, oh, I'm a little scared right now. Like then think of a 4, 5, 6 year old. They're
Mm-hmm.
probably feeling it double the amount, triple the amount.
Yeah.
And then they probably
Maybe
have a
feeling
lot,
unsafe,
yeah,
right? Like
unsafe
sometimes they feel unsafe.
or uncomfortable, or even I have a lot of kids, or even my own kids will ask me questions. Well, why did that happen? And well,
Mm-hmm.
why was that so scary? Why was the man going after that? So then it
Yeah.
elicits a lot of questions. The questions are okay, I think, but it's also like you're triggering some of those feelings inside. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that's what the ad and that's what the clip is supposed to do when they make
Mm-hmm.
those clips and they make
Mm-hmm.
those videos with the music, with the graphics. It's supposed to do that. So that's what it's
Mm-hmm.
doing to the kids.
Yeah. And I think what I read is it can cause trauma, like seeing inappropriate content before you're ready can cause trauma. It can impair a kid's social and interpersonal development. And I think overall just makes them feel uncomfortable and confused. And I don't want my kids to feel unsafe, uncomfortable, or confused.
Well, and then too is, let's say the kid does feel uncomfortable, unsafe, and confused, and they don't have necessarily a trusted or safe person at home, then the kid's kind
Mm-hmm.
of left with those feelings.
Yeah.
Instead of actually, if they did, let's say they did have a parent at home that they trusted, that they feel safe with and comfortable, they could actually walk up, hey, mom, dad, I don't feel comfortable with this, or I feel really scared. Like, can you see this?
Mm-hmm.
I don't like this video. And
Yeah.
especially with those examples that you were talking about, most of those kids went up to their parent and said, like, mommy, daddy, I don't like this, this is scary.
Right. Right.
That is such a good an attachment to have. What if
Mm-hmm.
those kids did not feel safe enough to go up to their
Mm-hmm.
parent? Now they're left with those feelings. That's, I think,
Mm-hmm.
too, where trauma could sit in, where they are left with those that fear, that the brain is activated, where it feels like I'm in that fight, flight, fear response, right?
Yeah. Right.
And if you don't have that trusted individual at home, that trusted parent or
Mm-hmm.
caregiver to go up to, that kid is sitting with those feelings.
Yeah. And I think a lot of kids, even that do have a parent at home, may just see something, be a little confused, and then literally keep watching and watching and
True.
watching
Hmm.
and never say anything and sort of internalize it. And this is another reason why parents should be monitoring it because you have to be involved with them on YouTube Kids and in reporting the videos, in flagging them, because YouTube won't review them with a human review until you flag it and report it to them. So it's like we all have to be involved in this experience for it to be safe.
Right. And we can't expect the kids to flag it. we can't expect the kids to deem it inappropriate because they're learning what appropriate is and what inappropriate is. They're learning that.
Yeah.
A lot of
Right.
4, 5, 6 year olds don't even know that. Even
Right.
some teens don't even really know that. So they're
Right.
learning what appropriate behavior is. So we can't even
Mm-hmm.
expect the kids to flag that. That's why it is so important for parents to be
Mm-hmm.
watching that, because we can't be putting that on our kids to know what the
Yeah.
difference is. All the kid is going to do is how it makes them feel,
Yeah.
how it makes them feel. And I think you brought up a good point is maybe they don't say anything. Maybe they just keep watching it. Then we lead into something where, okay, then their brain gets traumatized and then they get a little desensitized by it, where
Mm-hmm.
now they're watching consistent violent behavior, and that kind of just is desensitized with them. It just looks to be normal, looks to be a-okay. Like that kind of behavior is just kind of normal behavior. You're not going to get a lot
Yeah.
of illicit response from it. Maybe they don't show fear from that anymore, or they don't feel
Mm-hmm.
scared from that. It's actually really good that your kid could point out, like, that feels scary, that
Mm-hmm.
looks scary. That actually is a really good indicator. That's really healthy. And instead, if you have a kid that's just constantly watching scary, aggressive things on YouTube Kids or wherever, and then they're not
Mm-hmm.
scared by it, that's something to kind of have some feelers out for, and kind of think
Yeah.
to yourself, huh, are they just
Yeah.
like constantly watching aggressive and
Right.
violent shows that it's not even eliciting a response anymore, a feeling
Right.
anymore?
Yeah. And how does that play out long term? Something for us to really look into and talk about further.
Absolutely.
Um, but let's talk about the ads. So 95% of videos on YouTube Kids have ads on them.
Mhm.
And one study found that over 50% of the ads on YouTube Kids was for food and drinks that are high in sugar, salt, or fat.
Mhm.
And another study found that 1 in 5 ads watched by children 8 and under on YouTube Kids is considered not age appropriate, i.e., included violent content, sexual content, drugs or alcohol, or political ads. So you don't only have to be concerned about the inappropriate content in the videos your kids are watching, you also need to be aware that they are being served ads in between the videos that could potentially be inappropriate or for products that you don't find safe or healthy for your child.
Or let's even talk about what kind of messages is it sending regarding eating and body image,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, eating behaviors and healthy habits and all of that, for sure. And that's something that
Yeah.
parents can't control, that it's just getting fed to them.
Mm-hmm. And there's a law that exists that these technology companies cannot log data on our children and then serve targeted ads to them. But this just keeps happening. Like they just keep doing it. They are collecting data on our kids, and then they get fined hundreds of millions of dollars, which is nothing to them.
Right.
They pay the fine, and then you just hear it again in the news. There was 2 reports recently found YouTube collecting data and targeting ads to our kids, which they're not supposed to be doing. Like I said, just last month, a report was released that found YouTube's advertising practices had the potential to undercut the privacy of children watching the videos. So YouTube is acting in a way to addict your child to the videos. And I want to talk about a couple of the addictive features that can be really dangerous for our kids online and really us online too. One is autoplay. So do you know what autoplay is?
No, I don't. Enlighten me.
So yeah, so it's basically a manipulative design tactic meant to keep children online for as long as possible.
Mhm.
So it keeps one video coming after another with no pause or interruption. So when one video ends, another video plays. And this was something that got a lot of flack and negative feedback for on YouTube Kids. They had autoplay on for a while, and then parents complained, and so they made it optional, but they had it on, toggled on still.
Mhm.
And now it's toggled off when you, by default, autoplay is off, but it's super easy to turn back on. I literally downloaded YouTube Kids yesterday. It's like one of the 3 options that they can control themselves. Now, I don't expect kids to be knowing to turn that on, but who knows what they're doing on there. Um,
So, quick question: if you do
yeah.
not toggle the autoplay, so if it's
Mm-hmm.
off, Does the
Mhm.
video just stop and then you have to press play again? Or
Yes.
gotcha. And
Yeah,
if
that's
the
the intention.
yeah.
That's yeah.
So then it's
Now,
also like why are we having continuous videos? So that's a question. Um
well, they create autoplay to manipulate you into staying on the platform as
correct.
long as possible. Same for adults, right?
Right.
It's just never ending if you don't turn it off,
So
and
I
it
think
makes it really
that's
hard to part with it.
and that's the message that we're consistently seeing throughout all the platforms is they're wanting kids to stay on. They don't care whether or not your kid's been on it for 1 hour and 10 hours. They want you, an adult, and they want
Mhm.
your kids to stay on the platform for as long as possible. They don't want your kid to
Right.
go outside and play. They don't want your
No.
kid to interact face to face with their parents or their friends. They don't want
Right.
your kid to be bored. They want your kid to stay on the platform. So again, it has to do with money. It has to do with you know, ads again. And I asked, like, why are kids getting ads? Like, are the kid's gonna buy some cookie ad? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like,
So I
what
will say if you upgrade and pay for what's it called? If you pay
a monthly subscription, you won't get ads, right?
if you upgrade the to YouTube Premium for $13.99 a month, your child will not see ads.
Wow.
The addictive features are still there, but you have to pay extra in order for your child to not see
So
ads.
I perceive that as pay $14 a month to protect your child. We won't, but you can pay us $14 a month and we'll protect your child by not serving them ads.
We'll protect your child from ads, but they'll still see inappropriate content in
Right,
our videos.
right,
And we will still give them algorithm driven recommendations and
right.
autoplay. You know, it's like, are we all cool with this? Like, we're just like, we're so blind to this conversation. There's so many people that don't think before they give their kids something that can affect them forever. I mean, a lot of kids are spending hours a day on YouTube Kids, and the parents aren't even researching it beforehand, or they think it must be safe, but it's not.
Correct. And I think too, something that I really want to talk about as well that I've seen in my practice is when you get kids that are on YouTube and they're watching YouTube a lot, they want to then start their own channel. Now you have
Mm,
like young kids, if not then teenagers wanting to start their YouTube channel. And this is where it can get a little dicey and a little interesting because you do have some kid influencers out on YouTube right now, some big time kid influencers that are making quite a bit of money on YouTube.
mhm,
And the kids know that. I have kids
mhm,
that I have talked to, hey, what do you want to do in your life? Like, what's your aspiring career? And they say, I want to be a YouTuber. I want to be a
mhm,
YouTuber and I want to make all this money on YouTube. I want
mhm.
to, stream video games. I want to play video games on YouTube. I want to do videos and all of the stuff on YouTube. And it's interesting to hear that.
Yeah, and you'll see, I've I've seen kids as young as 4 years old, film a video just for their family, but they're like, hey guys, like and subscribe, and but like they're acting like they are YouTubers, and I mean, it's cute on the surface. It seems cute, but how much time are they spending on these platforms to feel like that's normal? And do we have to act like we have an audience all the time? What does that do to a kid? To be living their life like they are playing to an audience is an interesting thing to think about, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. And them thinking one is now you have a kid that is always exactly playing the part, right, and playing to the audience. And it's also, well, when can they live their authentic life? Like, when can they live their life
Mm-hmm.
of just playing as a child instead of it has to
Right.
be on blast and you're recording, right? So
Yeah.
I think too is I don't know, that's pretty young for a young that's pretty young for a kid or a teenager to, again, make an insightful and judgment call on, putting their life on blast for
Mm-hmm.
everyone to see, for everyone to comment, for
Mm-hmm.
other strangers to view as well.
Yeah. It's a privacy thing, like we grew up with a lot of privacy, all the privacy. Things that we did were viewed by our family and maybe our friends at school, but we didn't have to worry about them getting out in a video on the internet, or kind of needing that attention that comes with everything you do being blasted out online. So I don't know.
And I think too, for kids and seeing YouTubers, it looks cool. And it does. It looks really cool. These YouTuber influencers, they watch the videos and the videos are captivating.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fun to watch them. And so they feel inspired. But there's a lot of back end that goes into being a YouTuber, to being someone
Mm-hmm.
that videotapes weekly. There is a lot of production, there's a lot of videotaping, there's a lot of script that goes along.
Mm-hmm.
There's a team involved, right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I think when kids see other kids be YouTubers or just see other YouTube influencers, I think they're
Mm-hmm.
also getting the wrong message that it looks so easy to do and you make all of this money doing, when really
Mm-hmm.
there is such a huge back end that goes in, that there's, sorry, when there is so much back end to it of
Mm-hmm.
marketing and business and video editing
Editing.
and
Yeah.
email subscribers and just so much that goes on the back end. I've learned
Yeah.
that with my own business, and as we're doing this podcast,
Totally.
we've learned
Yep.
that. And you being a social media manager, there's so much back end to it. So I think too, I think what kids are seeing is they're getting a false sense of, wow, look at these YouTube influencers. It must be
Mm-hmm.
just so easy, and I can make all that money. And instead of really learning what that goes into,
Entails.
yeah, what that entails.
Totally.
I think
Yeah.
too,
And
and I was actually thinking about this before our episode is, do you remember and I'm just going to throw out some like 80s actors that were young kids, like Drew
mm-hmm.
Barrymore, Macaulay
Mm-hmm.
Culkin,
Yeah.
Ashley and Mary Kay
Oh, Mary
Olsen.
Kate and Ashley. We were watching one
Yeah,
of their
Mary Kay and
videos
Ashley.
yesterday.
Yeah, Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah.
Some of these actors that started out as kids,
Mm-hmm.
they started their acting career as kids. They had some big struggles when it turned to teenage and young adult and adult life. They had some significant struggles with their mental health, with
Mm-hmm.
juggling being famous, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
I think because you're getting so much from, you're getting so much what's then you're getting so much confidence when you're putting yourself on blast. You're getting your confidence from other people's reactions to you, and then maybe when that goes away or when that's not available to you, like how do you keep your mental health in a positive, like how do you keep your confidence up, I guess. um but yeah, I think let's do some wrap up on how we feel about it, and then I want to do tips, like whatever tips we have. I have a few.
okay, I have a
um
couple.
Yeah. Okay. So after learning more about the inappropriate content on YouTube Kids and the ads and the monitoring and some of the addictive features, like Ash, where are you at with YouTube Kids? How are you feeling about it?
I definitely feel that parents just need to be incredibly aware that we are relying on other people to check that box. If it's kid friendly, we are relying on software, and then we're relying on our kids to flag it for us, right? To let us know, oh, this is a scary part. This is inappropriate.
Mm-hmm.
So my thoughts are, if you're gonna go YouTube Kids, you got to watch it with them. Either try watching, Coco Melon on Netflix, which it is. It's on Netflix. Masha
Hmm.
Bear on Netflix.
Yeah.
Try going to a platform where there's not ads, where it's easy for you to do the research on these videos.
Yeah. And and on those platforms, it's not user generated content. Like Netflix is creating that content. And so you can trust that it's probably not super educational, but it's not user generated by some random person wherever in the world. It's
Yeah.
a legitimate, reputable company that's creating this content. So
Right. And has a
for me,
contract. Hmm.
yeah, as a contract. So for me, YouTube Kids, it feels a little like the Wild Wild West. Like I don't know what's going to be on there. I think maybe there are quality videos on YouTube Kids, but I think they're really actually hard to find. I think most of it is not educational or potentially inappropriate. And I think that parents are treating YouTube Kids as a babysitter, and unless you are willing to watch it with your kids, moderate the content, and report things that are inappropriate, then you shouldn't be putting your kid on there. That's just my opinion.
Absolutely. 100%. 100%. I make sure that when my kids want to watch YouTube, I want to know what show they're watching. I want to watch it first, and then I want to watch it with them. And if I don't like it, I'm like, sorry guys, the show is over. Let's switch to a
Yeah.
different platform. Um,
Yeah. And so I think a tip from me is consider not letting your kids watch YouTube Kids. I think um, I I choose things
how did I know
like
you were going to
Netflix.
pick that?
Sorry. I'm always
No,
like, cut it,
you're
cut
really
it, cut it.
consistent.
I know. I mean, I think like you don't have to let them do it. You don't have to let them use an iPad. You don't have to let them watch YouTube Kids. You don't have to let them be on social media. Like none of these things are must do's, right?
Mhm.
So there are lots of other options. I'm not saying cut literally everything out of your kid's life, but we don't do any of those things. And our kids are creative and independent. And also, we watch movies and they watch TV too. Like, it's fine to have a balance. But for me, YouTube Kids is too risky. There's too many inappropriate things on there after doing the research. But okay, so let's talk about if you are okay with your kid watching YouTube Kids, like we said, watch it with them, monitor it. If you see something disturbing or inappropriate, make sure you flag it and report it. And that way it shouldn't surface again.
I think another thing alongside that, right? When your kid does see inappropriate content on YouTube, one, let's prepare our kids. Hey, you're going to be watching YouTube. There might be a video that scares you, or there might be something that feels not so good or uncomfortable. Talk to mom about it. Talk to dad about it. Let us know. So prepare them. Hey, if you're going to be watching YouTube, there might be a video that slips in, or there might be a video that shows some aggression. If you don't feel good about it, tell mom or dad about it. So then one that helps the kid know that if they feel something that just doesn't feel good, it doesn't feel safe, it feels scary, that they can come to you, right?
Yeah.
I think number two is if you do find your child watching something inappropriate, let's not punish them. Let's not shame them, right? It's if it's YouTube Kids and they're watching something inappropriate, let's gear that anger towards YouTube Kids. Let's not gear it
Hmm.
towards our own children, okay? Because they're, again, like, they're learning, they're developing, they're not quite sure what's appropriate or what's inappropriate, and let's have a discussion about it. If we
Hmm.
shame and punish our kids for watching something inappropriate that shouldn't even be on that channel or that platform anyways, what you're going to create is then your kid is not going to go to you when they do feel scared, when something is confusing, when something is inappropriate. And we want to create a relationship that they feel connected, they feel comfortable and safe with you, so that if they do find something on the channel or on the platform, that they could instantly go to you and go, hey, mom, dad, I didn't feel good about watching this. Can you talk to me about it? Or here's the show I didn't feel good about. So you can sit down and talk to them. Hey, show me what you didn't feel good about. What happened there? Okay, perfect. You know what? Mommy's going to take care of this. We're going to flag it. And you know what? Let's take a break. Let's take a break from
Mm-hmm.
YouTube Kids. Let's look for a different show on another platform or whatnot.
Yeah, amazing. And asking them questions about how it made them feel, letting them ask as many questions as they want. I think just like taking the time, it can feel easy just be like, okay, let's just turn that off, flag it and turn it off. But like if they have seen something inappropriate and they need to process it, let them ask the questions, get down to their level and take the time that is needed to address it so they're not thinking about it and feeling confused about it,
Exactly.
going forward.
Exactly. Having that open discussion, allowing them to ask those questions. That, your kid might, we can't control everything, and your kid might see some inappropriate things like in real life or on the TV or on news, or hear something, like I said, in real life. So it's so important to sit down with them, have that open discussion,
Yeah.
allow them to ask those questions and answer them, kid appropriately,
Mm-hmm.
answer them appropriately, is really important. And also when I say, you know, do not shame them or punish them. What that looks like is, hey, you shouldn't be watching that. That's bad of you. You're a bad kid for watching that. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
then just take it away, right? Or I can't believe you're watching that, and then you just take away the iPad or you take away
Yeah.
YouTube altogether, and
Or I
then they're
told you not
grounded
to
or
watch
whatnot.
things like I told you couldn't
Right,
watch things like that,
right,
that's a great example.
right.
I've done that.
Those are ways where it can create some shaming, and then it also just creates the barrier so they're not coming to you. And I think the biggest thing is to equip our kids that they feel comfortable enough to go to you guys, to go to parents and say, hey, I didn't feel good about this. I didn't feel good about what this person said, or I didn't feel good about watching this. And
Mhm.
then ask those questions with you, that they don't feel alone, when
Yeah.
they do watch something scary or aggressive or inappropriate or sexual, and they're like,
Yeah.
I'm really confused by this.
Yeah. So, just a couple other things. So, if you are cool with your kid watching YouTube Kids, we gave a couple recommendations already. I also want to make sure you check the parental controls. They're not always built in. You have to turn things on and adjust things as you go. Um, you can add specific videos and channels to your child's like YouTube Kids experience. But remember that if you pick a channel, that doesn't mean that if you pick a channel and you've reviewed what they offer, they're still uploading new things. So you have a responsibility to ensure that whatever the channel adds continually is appropriate for that kid of yours. So just keep reviewing, keep monitoring what they're doing. Um, Definitely consider upgrading to YouTube Premium, $14 a month. For me, if I'm, that would be worth it for me. So my child doesn't see ads. But remember that addictive features are still available and also the chance of seeing inappropriate content. Um, and then lastly, I want to end with some screen time limits. So generally, after, researching some different studies and recommendations from different platforms, I would say what I'm going with is if your kid is under 5, like little or no screen time,
Mhm.
like as minimal as possible. And for me and our family, if it's watched under that age, it's as a group. We're watching a movie together. We're watching a video together. So then from 6 to 9 years old, 1 hour per day maximum. 10, and I'm not saying that I'm 100% great at this either, like we are not totally successful with this all the time, but this is a great, I think, guide. And then 10 and up, no more than 2 hours per day. And this includes all screen time, like not just YouTube Kids here. um, We've shared a lot of interesting research. High amounts of screen time at these young ages can cause developmental delays, ADHD type issues. So you can look back at our episode titled "Is Social Media Safe?"
Mhm.
to get some specific information regarding what happens when your kids watch too much, or are on screens too much. Thank you guys for listening to our episode about YouTube Kids. We hope you found it interesting. We hope you got some good tidbits and you're going to apply that to your family and what you guys are doing with YouTube Kids. We have some really interesting discussions coming up. As always, let us know your feedback. Let us know any topics that you'd like us to talk about. If you have a story to tell, or an experience to share, we'd love to hear it. You can go to our website at scrollingtodeath.com, number 2, or our Instagram and chat with us there. We want this to be a collaborative conversation, judgment-free zone. We want to bring you guys conversations that you find interesting and helpful for your family. So let us know your feedback. Let us know your ideas. This is a two-way conversation, and we appreciate you guys being part of it.